Good Wednesday morning. It's November 4th, 2020. I'm Guy McPherson of Nature Bats Last. You can find Nature Bats Last at guymcpherson.com. I'm going to give a few headlines going back to Monday and then an indication of where the stock markets are headed at the open here in the United States. So here we are. Going back to Monday in the Washington Post, the economy could face perfect storm of peril. Subhead, political gridlock, a pandemic, and the expiration of federal benefits suggest that we're in for the worst. And here's the lead. America's economy faces severe new strains in the 2 months between Tuesday's election. That was when Tuesday's election was tomorrow instead of yesterday. A period when Washington could be consumed by political paralysis and gridlock. Also from Monday, the Washington Post, top Trump advisor pleads for more aggressive action, specifically referring to COVID-19. Then from yesterday, end of $600 unemployment boost pushes more households to the edge. The people who are no longer employed, who were eligible for unemployment benefits, no longer are. So the poor people, again, are getting the short end of the economic stick here in the United States. From Yahoo Finance, also yesterday, elections 2020, Wall Street's red-hot blue wave trade unravels as election outcome hangs in balance. The stock markets in the United States had factored in a huge win for the Democrats, Biden to win the presidency, and the Democratic Party to hold on to an advantage and keep an advantage in the Senate and the House of Representatives. And instead, it looks like at the end of the day yesterday that might not happen. The blue wave is unraveling. From CNN.com, also yesterday, the U.S. reported its second highest number of new COVID-19 cases on election day with more than 91,000 infections. We're in the midst of the third wave. It is continuing despite politics. So the markets finished strongly up yesterday, which is no indication by any stretch of the imagination of where they're headed today. Now let's look at a few stories from the news that actually matters. Both of these stories go back to Monday, November 2nd, before the election. From the Moscow Times, the headline is Russian Arctic Sea fails to freeze. So it's referring specifically to the Laptev Sea, which is sometimes called the birthplace of ice. It has not frozen for the first time at this date since records began. It thawed much earlier in 2020 than in any previous year since records began in 1979, and it is not refrozen as of late October, according to the United States National Snow and Ice Data Center. Second story, having to do with climate change as well, also from Monday, warming of 2C would release billions of tons of soil carbon. Never mind the fact that we're at 2C above the 1750 baseline already, failed to acknowledge in this particular piece, which was released on Monday, November 2nd, and published by Varney and colleagues in Nature Communications. The paper is titled A Spatial Emergent Constraint on the Sensitivity of Soil Carbon Turnover to Global Warming, and it warns specifically about 230 billion tons of carbon being released from the world's soil once we reach 2C. But we're already at 2C. This additional release of billions of tons of carbon would undoubtedly lead to an ice-free Arctic in the very near term, and we're headed there anyway. The combination of these two would lead to the 5 to 6 degrees Celsius global average temperature rise above the 1750 baseline, indicated by Strone and Bradshaw in their November 2018 paper in Scientific Reports, as sufficient to warm the temperature of the globe 5 to 6 degrees C, and therefore lead to the loss of all life on Earth. So this is something that really matters and is not being covered as nearly as I can tell, by any corporate media outlet. And here we are at 9:47 Eastern Time. And here's what the Wall Street Journal says. Stocks open higher after Biden gains swing state votes. So things are leaning Biden's way, which suggests the blue wave. And sure enough, the Dow is up 262, the NASDAQ is up 264, tech stocks are exploding again, the S&P 500 is up 50 points. Again, there's a 30-minute lag between when the numbers come out and when I get the numbers. But it looks like Wall Street is pleased with a Democratic candidate winning the presidency. I don't know why, because I don't see a big difference between the two. And Biden is Obama light, and Obama was quite the proponent of war, we'll say, to put it mildly. But there you have it. Stocks exploding up again at the open, despite an abundance of bad news, largely because of the potential for a Democratic win, the likelihood of a Democratic win being factored in and leading to economic stimulus headed our way. So then the primary question that remains is, did you vote? Full disclosure, I didn't. But your vote is probably worth more than mine is.